Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys we're going to talk about some tips and tricks for trading. This may be for older players that have been in the game for a long time, and even newer players that are new to trading or you're going to a new locals for the first time. These are some key things you may want to keep up on. And this all comes from personal experience and the experience of others, and just talking to Yu-Gi-Oh players and trading things and the way we deal with things. And even for older players, I've seen that some of the players don't do this. Even I sometimes do not do this, but it's some good rules to follow by. So watch what I say, not what I teach sometimes, but I try to do what I speak what I teach. So first off is always bring a trade binder. Now I don't always do this. This is probably the number one thing I do not do, but always try to bring a trade binder of some sort with some assortment of cards to a locals or regionals or YCS for sure. Because people, once you get to talking with them, they're going to ask you, hey, do you have trades? And usually the response is, yes, here's my trade binder. Do you want anything? And then you work with them, and that's how you form friendships and happy people and get good deals. But literally, always try to have a trade binder. I don't always have one because I'm so busy, and I'm busy selling and buying cards online mainly, or trading with friends I know and things of that nature, that it's really just hard for me to get a trade binder consistently, because I don't want to trade something to somebody and then my buddies say, hey, oh, I need that. Well, dang, I wish you told me a day ago. So I usually don't do this anymore, but back when I first started with Yu-Gi-Oh, it was definitely something you do. Get a good trade binder. Don't get one where it's like where it has the top loaders where you put things in. That's okay if that's your collection and you're keeping those things at home, but if you're going to locals, do not bring those type of binders to locals, because your cards will fall out. You put it in your backpack, they're going to fall out. The best type of binders, and I'm not representing them, but the best type of binders I have found are binders that monster binders and things of that nature, where you slide the card in from the side, not from the top. The top cards, sleeves, you don't want. You want the side ones, because those cards will be harder to slide out. However, they still slide out, so keep an eye on your binders. Second thing is, there are thieves in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like anything in life, there's people trying to cut corners and get ahead of things. So you always want to keep an eye on your binder. Always look over after you have a trade, look at your binder to make sure that everything's there if you think the guy was kind of being kind of shady. You don't need to profile people, but if it's an old friend, I usually don't look at the binder. I know he probably didn't take anything, and I trust him. Like my friends Reggie, Will, and all those guys, and people at my locals, I've known them for a pretty long time. I trust those guys. But if it's some dude that's, he kind of looks a little shady and I've never met the guy before, just double check your binder. It's always a good rule of thumb. Nothing against that person, but just a good rule of thumb. Also, I would also say, make sure any cards you got in the trade, put them directly in a certain type of the binder, or put them in the back of your binder. And it's always a good rule of thumb as well to have a section or a card sleeve with a piece of paper attached saying, this card is not for sale, or this part of the binder is not for sale. Because that way somebody says, oh, okay, I know past this, these cards he's not going to want to sell or trade, but everything before that is good. It's always a good rule of thumb, because people, I've seen it so many times, and it happens all the time, you ask somebody, hey, you want to trade that? And they're like, no, I'm just keeping it in the binder. You want that? Can I have that one? No, you can't, I want that one. So, just a good rule of thumb, if you're really tight on money and can't afford another binder, just consolidate, kind of. Have some markers, something like that, to mark the section between sold and not sold, things of that nature. It helps players out so much. It makes trades so much more easier. I mean, believe me, you'll be saving everybody a lot of hassle. And you'll probably get more people trading and wanting to deal with you in the future if you're regulars with them. Also, other things you need to keep in mind, guys, is keep track of your binders. This is something that happens all the time. And I cannot tell you how many times this has happened, and I've seen this. You'll be at a regionals, a YCS, even locals. That's a big locals. And at the end of the night, when everybody's going home, who left their binder? Somebody left their binder, a blue Ultra Pro binder, a black, a green, a red, whatever. Who is it? Well, we don't know. And someone's got to look through, oh, it's a such and such, it's his. He said he lost it, he just didn't know where it went. Oh, it was at the end of the table because it went down the table as everybody looked at it. It happens so many times. Keep track of your binder, please. I hate seeing it when people find their binders and they're like, all the cards are gone because they weren't keeping track of it. I know it's very common for many players to take multiple binders to wherever they're going. But try to, if you're possible, take one binder out at a time and deal with one person at a time. I've even said this to players, and I've even said that they're like, they're working with somebody. I was like, hey, after you're done, can we talk about, about these card prices and everything? He's like, sure, you're next. And then there'll be another guy after that. And it works very nicely that way, because the problem is with Yu-Gi-Oh players is like with anything in life, when there's stuff on the table that people want, people are like vultures, and they come to the carcass to pick off the meat. I know that sounds very disgusting, very disturbing, but it's very true. And I hate to say it about the Yu-Gi-Oh community, but people are like vultures when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Sometimes, because they'll be like, oh, I want this, I want that, and before you know it, you've lost track of where your stuff's at, and it's gone, or somebody took it, or something of that nature. So it's always a good rule of thumb to deal with 1 or 2 people at a time, no more. I never deal with more than 2 people. I'm like, hey, can you wait till I'm done dealing with this guy, then I got this guy I'm going to deal with, and then you're up next, and we can talk. Sure, man, that's fine. Well, he comes back later, and if he doesn't come back, well, fine, that's fine. There's other people out here that I can trade with. So literally, that's how I think it's the best way to work. Deal with 1 to 2 people at a time. Don't deal with more, because you may lose your stuff. Your stuff gets misplaced. Stuff gets taken. It's very, very easy to happen. So if you're a very young player, and I know you invested money in this game and deck, and I saw it happen so many times, just at random places I would go to, be it a con, or a regionals, or a YCS in Philly, or whatever. It's just leftover stuff. Nobody claimed it. Nobody knew what happened to it. Just random stuff. Very sad. So please keep track of your stuff as best as possible, and keep it in a bag and just have it beside you. Another thing is, when you're trading and just in general taking Yu-Gi-Oh stuff to wherever you're going, either have a friend that you are very trustworthy with watch your bag. Like at my locals, everybody knows everybody. So if somebody screws you over or took your stuff, you know it's somebody in that room, because there's only a couple players that come to my locals at the moment. But I always try to have if I need to go out to my car to grab something, whatever, and I don't want to take my bag, hey Reggie, hey Alex, hey Will, hey Suji, can you watch my stuff? Hey, can you watch my stuff while I go to the bathroom? I've done that with friends all the time. It's perfectly fine to do that, but have somebody you trust. And that's another good reason why, if you go to a major event, have a buddy, and especially if you're selling your collection, always have a buddy with you selling, because people take stuff. And I used to do this all the time, where I would take things out of sleeves and put them on, there's a whole bunch of other little etiquette things, but those are just some things there. Now on to the trading aspect of the game, after saying all the etiquette things. The number one thing I can definitely tell you about trading is try to trade in bulk. Cash is acceptable in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. We'll get to that in a second, but trade in bulk usually gets you a better deal, very truly, because even if I'm buying on a good website or wherever, sometimes I find it's a lot easier to trade in real life, because prices are less cheaper to some degree if you can find the cards you want. Sometimes if it's a harder to come by card, or common that's hard to find, it's an old set, it's kind of hard to find, so it's sometimes just better to buy it online. But if it's not, and it's a recently good card, it's sometimes, or somebody's like an old school player and they're selling some of their cards, or they brought their huge box of old school cards to locals, help them go through it. What I've done many, many, many times is I've seen people come in and I'm like, hey, let's talk, because starting up a conversation with somebody, and having more connections than Yu-Gi-Oh friends and whatever, overall is beneficial for your locals, your area, for you, for them, everything. So if people bring a whole bunch of boxes, I'll be like, oh, that's a whole bunch of old school cards or new school cards, let's sort them out together, and they'll just be me and them, or maybe one of their friends, and they'll keep an eye on me because they're kind of wary, but we work together. I'll be like, hey, just so you know, this is about a $4 card or a $5 card. They're like, really? I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah, I looked at the price like a week ago. That's where it's at right now. So just so you know, nobody gyps you. And they'll be grateful. And then maybe when I, say, hey, well, these are some of the cards I want, they'll give you a better deal. It's really true. And just buying cards in bulk, you get better prices. I used to buy like old hollows, good things like Toon Summon Skulls and Cicadas. Toon Summon Skulls and things of that nature, like old cards or new cards. I'd buy I'd say, hey, I want 25 to 30 of these cards, and they'll look through them and like, okay, yeah, that price is that. They'll do it in their head, things of that nature, and then they'll be like, $20. Well, technically those cards may be worth $40, but I got a discount because I'm buying a bulk trade. He's getting money that he wants and needs. I'm getting cards I want. It's a win-win. He's getting rid of stuff he doesn't want anymore. Everybody's happy. Believe me, that's usually what happens a lot. And another thing I'll mention as I start to end this video is and this is something I try to always do, and I've been very good at over the last 4 to 5 years. But a lot of players out there do not do this. They do not know the value of the cards they are trading. Now, I will give you an exception if it's a YCS or regionals, or someday, like it happened a day or so ago, and the price just randomly spiked up, you know, because something that some regionals or YCS did good, so the card went up in price. Happens all the time. Can't say that happens, you know, people get gypped on trades like that, but know the price of your cards, because I can't tell you how many times we're like this. Okay, the price of this card, man, is, let me look it up on TCG Player. What do you I value it at $20. Okay, that took 5-10 minutes just for one card. Try to have, you don't need to know the exact price, and I understand, even I still look up prices just to make sure they haven't fluctuated, you know, or something of that nature, but always have a general ballpark range. So like Omega, when I'm making this video right now, Omega is like a $50 card. Well, I should know that it's somewhere around $50, but just because it's a card in flux, it doesn't hurt to say, hey, you know, this is an expensive card. I just want to make sure it hasn't gone up in price anymore. Sure, that's fine. Oh, it's going up to $60. Okay, well, let's make it $55. Okay, that's good. Here's your card. You know, things of that nature. So have a ballpark range of the card prices before you go to a major event, especially. If it's locals, usually people are more laid back, but if it's a regionals or a YCS especially, always have a general ballpark range of your card prices. Things may fluctuate through the event, but always have a ballpark range. Very, very true and very helpful, because that takes time to look up prices online, especially if you're in a building that does not have good internet connection. So guys, those are my tips on Trading 101. Hope this was helpful. If you have anything else you would like to add on to this, please write down in the comment section below. And until next time, guys, take care. Have fun dueling. Good luck dueling. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody. I'm Seto Kaba. And good luck dueling to all of you.